Welcome to ATD and the D, the podcast driving modern talent development in the Motor City and beyond. I'm Sarah Meyer from Dark Mode Learning, and alongside me is Clifton Clark from the Detroit Learning Alliance. Every episode, we sit down with industry leaders to cut through the noise, challenge standard practice, and break down what actually works. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to ATD and the D. Today, we are bringing deep insight into organizational development, talent system design, and what it really means to build a data-driven talent experience. We are thrilled to welcome Tonya Tucker Collins to the show. Welcome, Tonya.
Welcome. Well, thank you for having me. I'm saying welcome to you, and thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you on today. Before we dive into your upcoming session, can you give our listeners a quick snapshot of your involvement with OrgDev?
The interesting thing for me is not just OrgDev, but last actually presented for the first time at the OrgDev conference. But more importantly, I entered the actual profession through that lens of industrial psych. My undergrad is one of the few schools that gives you that ability to do industrial psych, minor in business, option in HR is exactly what I did.
Oh, thank you so much. I totally forgot. I need your whole background. Give it all to us. Sorry. Question in.
No problem. But that's how I entered the profession from the beginning. And I've spent probably the last, 25 plus years. I have to say that, especially now that my son is in this profession and people see him and they see me. So it's the first giveaway to everything. But really throughout my career, and I've had I've been industry, able to go to almost any industry. So education, got to work at Berkeley, got to go into insurance, and now have spent probably the last almost 10 years in tech, which has been fascinating. But at the same time, it's really around, I keep going back to the fundamentals, which is around how do you have solid research? Because our field does have research, contrary to popular belief. There are some HR professionals that truly believe there's no research that backs what we do. And I'm like, why are you doing HR? But I digress. Diagnosis, how do you really do that? How do you have systems thinking? And how do you understand human behavior? And so for me, I keep returning to those basic foundational things. Right now, currently, I'm the head of talent and growth with a really great company. You go to my LinkedIn and check that out if you really want to go there. But at the end of the day, I get the opportunity at this point in my career to not only do talent development, but also talent management and talent acquisition. So I get to see the whole system and I get to have access to a lot of the data, which is a powerful space to be in. And I'm having a good time, a lot of hard work, but at the same time, it's really about showing what's possible now at this stage of my career and field, if you can really get in there and do some things well.
So cool. Love that. How does that now? Sorry that I dove all over your introduction. Oh my goodness. How does that connect back to OrgDev here today?
So for me, it connects back to actually my passion and love for, again, it's fascinating to me. I had someone that really did say to me recently in a leadership space within well, yeah, L&D has a lot of research and backing relative to what they do, but not talent management. And I literally was like, it's like, how do I be politically correct in this moment? And, this is what makes me, it's what makes me a snob in this profession to a certain degree. Because in that moment,
that's what I like about you.
Yeah. I love what we do. And I get, we have to be quick. We have to be nimble. We have to be grounded in the business acumen. But I think we've swung too far.
Yes.
I think we have not held that kind of bar that was entered the profession of you actually had to have both. The interesting thing is one of my first bosses was like, you got to know the financials just as much as you got to know the OD stuff, Tonya. Yes. And I think something happened in this journey where we got off of the path. And so my passion actually, when I'm looking for not just conferences to attend, but also where I can give back in expertise, or even sometimes just saying exactly what I said in spaces of like, hey, no, there's research that backs up quite a bit of what we do. And more importantly, if you don't have a solid foundation, you're going to be missing some of the things that probably are not leading you to build good talent solutions. It's not about one thing. It's not about being a silo. It's really about how do we integrate, which even gets back to sometimes the difficulty that we have getting data when we should have access to it as a partner in this whole experience that we're trying to create collectively.
Absolutely. I've seen that so much in my career.
Oh, me.
So today we'll be diving more into your journey so that we can hear some more wonderful nuggets. I feel like this is going to be an educational session for all of us about the field. And then, of course, this is a special episode of ATD and the D because we are highlighting the OrgDev conference that is coming up. So we'll be talking a lot about that, as well as diving more into you as well. We talked to your son the other day and just had such a magnificent time. So we just, again, want to say we appreciate you bringing him forth because he's gonna bring so much to the leadership development field that we're looking forward to. But before we start all of that, we have to know, what is, ma'am, your theme song? Because what we're doing this year is all of our wonderful speakers that we're talking to, we're putting together a Spotify list so that we can pass out to the masses to help motivate themselves going into 2027. So what's your entry on that list? What's your theme song or one song choice that motivates you, that gets you going and turns you into Superwoman for the day?
Oh, it is going to go back to Miss Rihanna. All props to her. How she is so unapologetic. It inspires me. But Shine Bright Like a Diamond is definitely my top choice. It is, even I use that phrase to when I see somebody doing something exceptional, or even sometimes when I see people kind of dimming their light, which I've been guilty of early in my career. I'm like, girl, shine bright like a diamond. I'm bright. There is no reason to be, why dim your light? I mean, you got it, shine.
Well, we talk with professionals all the time, and we had our networking event the other night. And the number of times, Tonya, I can tell you that I've said it and heard the other night, imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
It's so many people said that, and that's why I love ATD, because I suffer from that. And it's just so nice to be in my tribe where everybody else is feeling that way too. But so that makes perfect sense, your theme song of choice, because we all can use that song, really, for those of us that are suffering from feeling just not adequate enough in our spaces.
Yeah. Or even sometimes maybe your space has dimmed your light.
Oh.
There's also times where I will send that. I send that to like people who I know have been dimmed and who are dimming themselves, especially do something that just rocks it out of the house. And it's that moment where, no, I'm gonna let you know you're shining bright. I see it, and keep it coming to us, because we need that.
Wow. Absolutely love that. So Notch, we got Rihanna on the list. We got
I love that. I love her so much.
We have soul music on the list, show tunes, and of course the Queen Rihanna has made the list. Awesome. Thank you for that. So diving more into the conference now, is talking a little bit about the conference. Why do you think that we have a conference dedicated to just organizational development? Because I mean, it's a few days just dedicated to that discipline. Why do you think we have why is it important at this juncture with everything that's going on?
So I'm gonna go, like, the one thing again, it's that element of, hey, there's research, and a lot of us who are in this particular space, we rely upon the research, the tools. Like I go back to that as my, even though you could say, oh, well, you do learning and development, or you do talent management, you do talent acquisition. It doesn't matter. I have to go back to my foundation, and where I've been in organizations who've done things exceptionally well have had foundation. The organizations that I've been in who haven't, or they brought me in to rebuild the foundation, I got to go back to the foundation.
Yes.
And what OrgDev gives us is kind of that return to like, hey, we need to return to that. But why it's important now is, let's be real. There's a lot going on. There's a lot more being put on us. We're being asked to do a lot more with less resources. Again, the access and ability to data, even just, when we talk about AI and all the things that are coming at us today, there is if you don't have a solid foundation, all those things are going to run you over.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, they're going to take the breath out of you and everything that you're doing. And ultimately, it's those moments where you have to come back to it. It's like, even there are times that for me where I'll go forward with an initiative that I know is not going to work with the leader. Do you know why I do that? No, but I do it in a sense of also saying along the way, I don't think this is going to get the results that you want. But let's do it to gather the data. Let's do it in order to get a better sense of what you really truly do need. And more importantly, let's educate you on some of the foundational things that I think if you understood them, you will leave the expertise to us. It's a fascinating thing in our profession right now where I feel as though everybody took that one learning and development course. Everybody took that one HR course. So now everybody can do this. And then, of course, you can plug it into AI and it'll spit out whatever. However, you don't do that with finance. That's what's so fascinating to me. You're not going to let your CFO just take one course. You're going to say, no, you had to work in capital markets. You had to work in all of these other areas. You had to build your expertise.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for our space, you don't. So how much more important is it for us to reclaim that, no, you need these things in our space and you need to understand them. And I don't care if you are not in our space, maybe you need to come to our conference to get a little bit more of that foundational pieces. And more importantly, those of us are here, sometimes we need to be refreshed. And then the last is we got to share.
Yeah. I'm finding with AI, a lot of people just want to find out the hard way, and it's going to be a really interesting moment. Exactly what you're saying, right? We're just like, we won't trust it with finance or whatever, but we're trusting it here, and we're about to find out what happens.
Better. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So at OrgDev, what's your role at the conference this year? You presenting, you're doing some other things? Because we talked to Rusty Shields, and he's like the mayor, the mayor of Indianapolis. He's doing a lot of things. What's your role this year? What are you contributing to the conference?
No, so I got to be on their PAC. I've also had the opportunity to be on the bigger.
What is a PAC for anyone who doesn't know?
It's basically the committee that sits down and reviews all of the awesome proposals that come in and has the job of actually kind of like selecting who we put forth, who ultimately, and while we'll sometimes break it into different groups that have different specialties, the important thing is like, how do we make sure that it's the right blend of voices that are actually adding to it? In addition, and I didn't review my own, let me just throw that out there. I'm doing a presentation at ATD org.
And can our members join the PAC?
What do you mean? Say that again.
Can anyone volunteer for the PAC, or do you have to have any kind of?
Anybody can. I won't say anybody can join. I think you do have to have kind of the ability to have that critical eye.
Yeah. But if our volunteers wanted to be a volunteer,
absolutely.
Another thing you can do, guys.
Another thing you can do, as a matter of fact, I even give that plug out to almost, every chapter has a selection committee who's doing a conference. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing the Houston OrgDev conference also. I'm sorry, not the Houston conference also. And so, there are always opportunities.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing those.
Nice.
What else are you doing with the pack? I feel like there's more. I kind of distracted you with some definitions and things.
Actually, it's the presentation and then also the pack and then anything else that they ask me to do that really supports making the conference a great experience. I mean, that's the key to me in any volunteer experience is you're volunteering your time. I've been a volunteer in a lot of capacities across ATD for my entire career, and it has made an incredible difference, not only in your network, but in addition to your network, I feel like sometimes you don't even know what you did. And then it puts you in a room that you had no idea. And it was just you showing up and giving back to our professional space, which I think is equally as important.
It's necessary. It's absolutely necessary for us, I think, to be involved on a volunteer basis, because if you are in just working your job and, in the last couple of years, things have changed massively. And if you're only just working your L&D career at your job, what you have is a one-sided view. You're looking at your company reacting to whatever's going on instead of you understanding what's going on. So these conferences, being active with ATD in any chapter in your capacity, these things are important to stay ahead. Like we're discussing today, everything that you talked about earlier is just so important to practitioners in the field and understanding what's happening so they know how to get the tools to approach their employer and know what to ask. So yeah, it's volunteering is underrated to me because people feel like it's work for free, but really for practitioners in this field, but what we've exploded upon in the past year and a half, 2 years, if you haven't been a volunteer, I mean, unless you're a great independent reader, you're kind of behind.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. The other thing about volunteering is you're adding to your network. You're adding to your network. And again, I think you said it very well, Clinton, which is around this space of how do you keep up? Sometimes you can, like somebody else who went deep with the topic, imagine having like 30 minutes, an hour with that person exclusively. I mean, that is like, I have my fangirl moments at the bigger AT. I have them at the OrgDev as well, where it's like I get to have that 15, 20 minutes with someone who's gone really deep in a topic that I just don't have the time to go deep in. And more importantly, they can guide and direct me to just a couple of resources that now are in my toolkit that make me even better than what I was when I stepped, like you step into the conference one way and you're going to step out another way.
Yeah. Gives you that other half of confidence that Rihanna gave you.
Well, that's why I restarted this podcast too. I wanted to talk to cool people. So I was like, hey, ATD can help me do that.
Definitely helps.
Like there's so many cool volunteer opportunities we can have here.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that ability to focus on your immediate application of these tools is really helpful. You also noted that the field is chasing shiny tech trends when we were speaking earlier. Without the understanding of the why, do you know why this return to foundational org dev thinking is so urgent right now?
So, yes. Like one of the reasons I specifically decided to go into tech was because I was, let's be real, I was in an insurance and retail sides, a lot of big organizations, even within healthcare, and everyone would put up in front of the learning and development team this concept of, but tech is doing X and tech is doing Y and tech is doing this. And so I was feeling overwhelmed with the feedback, and I figured, well, instead of resisting, why don't I join and see what's really going on? I can remember, I can remember being really frustrated when one of my leaders wanted me to go down to a total virtual kind of onboarding experience that was literally nothing. If you think about it from a design perspective, experience perspective, all of those things, but that was in one of those traditional, and they kept saying, because tech is doing this, and if they can do it, how come we can't do it? And what ended up happening is I learned a tech company who basically wanted a 1 week on-site experience. And I realized that almost all of the tech, no, they were still doing on-site onboarding. And in that moment, it was like, oh, we're not as separate as we think. But I think sometimes you get like one person who gets one quote in one news article. Again, this is that not going deep in your practice.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden holds it up in front of you as this is the thing. And it's actually, that's not it. And so that's why I joined. However, let's fast forward to today, where now you've got everyone and their mother throwing AI and really some interesting tech tools at a lot of stuff and saying that, hey, well, we don't need the designer, or we don't need this. And I'm like, well, that's what you thought 10 years ago, and it didn't pan out like that. And you said you didn't need performance evaluations, and all of you went back to performance evaluations. You said you didn't, and it's that ability. So it's almost this new lens of where we have to get back to, yes, AI can do some great, phenomenal things. Do not get me wrong. Like I say, the ability for me to take data from another subset and be able to put that in AI and what it can give me back in less than 15 minutes, my mind is blown. At the same time, too, I've been creating stuff and literally been like, that's not right. What it has spit out. And that's, to me, the new value that we add. So now imagine, as a practitioner, this is, I think, what folks are missing, is that it gives you something, you go forward with it, and you don't have that eye or that baseline knowledge, and now you produce something without knowing that what it gave you was garbage.
I think AI is going to bring out this need for specialists that hasn't occurred before. This very interesting need for, like, not just an instructional designer, but a specialist who can quickly read through these AI slop moments and make reality out of them and make it an actual e-learning experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if in my opinion, and being on a lot of software development teams, a lot of people want the tech to guide them. So what Sarah was saying, you're going to need that specialist, but the specialist is going to have to collaborate with OrgDev professionals, if they're not one themselves, to say, this is what we need out of this, not, hey, let's have a presentation and them tell us what it can do for us. I think that's where people are getting caught up right now. They're saying a lot, let's take a look at AI, let's see what it can do, and it can do this now, so therefore we don't need these many employees, because they're being led by the shininess of it, instead of having the discipline and the knowledge, like you're saying, Tonya, for organization development, to know what you need. What is it exactly you need this thing to do, and then select it based on that, instead of the other way around. Yeah.
I think it's showing a lot of the cracks of the silos and, like, the whole learning architecture in general, just how we've been, just patching over the years. We're at a point where we're about to see a lot of breaks.
And what's going to be fascinating to me is organizations who have a good foundation, who've done things really well, imagine them applying AI.
Yeah.
They're going to do really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
But really, really well. Those that are, there's a fascinating conversation that's going on in our space around, shouldn't we be, meaning learning and development, organizational development, really be that voice relative to how you implement AI, because there is this change component and this people component, and also this learning component that I think
we actually spoke on this at the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was our podcast, and Margaret talked specifically about us having a seat in that room when they start talking about what tech they want. And but then now the conversation shifts to how do you get there, because usually you'll have to go over your boss's head to get there.
yeah.
And so many of us
Yeah,
are
what's your
stuck
perspective on this?
So my perspective on it is, what's fascinating to me is I think it's a short-sightedness on the tech side where
Yeah.
they're think about it. Honestly, it's almost reminding them all of your good tech implementations have been in partnership probably with learning and development, a change management component. There's some, again, it goes back to foundation. Honestly, I have a perspective that anytime a tech team has come to my team and said they want to implement learning and they don't have a they don't have a solid project plan, they don't have a change management plan, and they have a user manual instead of a, like guided how we're going to do the learning, I immediately look at my team and go, there's no way that project's moving forward.
Yeah.
Because the foundation isn't there. Oh, and I forgot another piece, and a process. How are you going to implement it with the team? And how are you going to look at these things to see how it should flow through the workflow? Absolutely. And everybody is just saying, here's AI, and you figure out how to put it in your workflow, and you figure out how to learn it, and you figure out how to manage it, and everybody's going, that's too much in addition to everything else. So imagine if it was guided. Imagine if we actually approached it together, what that would actually do for the organization. And it's like, the unlock is there. We've been doing it with other tech implementations. I'm shocked we're not doing it more.
Well, and I think at this point, it takes a little bit more nuance too of like, sorry, we did it wrong. Because so many of these industries have already done it. Sorry, we did it wrong. Let's take a step back. Let's actually look at what we've done. It's not your fault things went wrong. It's our fault. We didn't train you. Taking that ownership. We didn't do this right. Let's fix that.
Oh, yes. But that means learning. Like, again, it's a moment of like, mistakes can be learning.
But that again is what we're here in the orgs for, is teaching them that part of learning is owning mistakes.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Think we're moving on now for the holistic performance management part of this, which I'm so excited about. Your upcoming session is titled Beyond Performance Reviews, Designing a Data-Driven Talent Experience. You argue performance management isn't just an annual review, but a full system encompassing coaching, feedback, and succession planning. How do we design these systems around people's real lives and conscious choices? Like, what? Sorry, my notes are crazy today, guys. I don't know. I let AI go rogue. See, these are the risks. These are the risks. Early parenthood. Why does this say early parenthood? I'm sorry, guys. Whew.
No problem. No problem.
What are the conscious choices that we're making? Performance reviews. We spoke so much about this. It was so interesting. We spoke about my experiences and your experiences off camera. And I just I loved your data-driven approach. So tell me about that data-driven approach to this.
So one is we are data rich, but sometimes poor. However, the real ability to use the data to design an experience that holistically matches to what our employees as well as our managers either lack or need is there for us to be able to do. And also, too, I think it's another piece of it is that a lot of individuals think of performance management as like this one-time event. And in addition to that, we think of it as a one-time experience. And I argue that no, it really truly starts from how we look at the overall talent experience that we're trying to create for our employees within a larger culture or context. It's also this conversation around what is the data telling us, where are we missing it, and where possibly the leaders are also missing it. In addition to that, what are some of the things that we're going to need for the future? Like, we don't even, I'm always shocked you go into an organization and you have all these plans relative to growth, but you're never tying it back to what is your existing population and what are those gaps relative to either knowledge or experience that they're going to need. So it's even around AI. I think about I'll look at it in the context of service-based industries or even healthcare. Because they're hourly employees, we allocate and know that there is a certain number of hours that we have to contribute to their development for them to keep their licensure, to keep their skills, and to do all those things. So imagine taking something like that and literally saying, we know that in 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, or even 2 years, we're going to need X skills. So let's go ahead and create a model that allows us to be able to add a couple of either contract temp employees or permanent employees, it just depends, that give a little bit more space within our organization so that we can add learning and development into it. But you need the performance data. You also need to know where the organization is going. And then in that, you need to know ultimately, are we hitting the mark or are we not hitting the mark relative to that business impact when we're implementing these things? So it's a whole system that works together as opposed to just talent review that says X. So now imagine they're having a development conversation with you that basically says the organization is going here. I know your passions or your energy, you want to go here. So I'm thinking you might be interested in that. I'm not going to hoard talent because that's bad for the organization and bad for this individual, but we're going to sit together and develop a plan. And let's be honest, not all leaders do it, but now imagine if we shared more collectively what the data is showing us of where we're going to be. So now in terms of our succession planning, it's looking at your top, it's looking also at the learning needs of your organization and trying to map those. And so you don't end up in a place of where you're laying everybody off. You go back to like some fundamental principles that say, how do we repurpose this capability or capacity to other areas of the organization? But you got to know the skills, you got to know what people are interested in, and you also have to have enough capacity within your organization to be able to place those people strategically.
How big is the weight on interest?
You mean in terms of interest of the employee themselves?
Yeah, because I was in this capacity before, and I was told that it was my job to develop my trainers, even if some of their skills didn't directly tie to our business. What if their interests, like you started that conversation off with the organization is going here, right? What if their interests are a little left of there? What do you do?
So it's never a perfect alignment. Let's all
Okay.
I think like there's a model, and I forget what book it's in, but it talks about this idea of here are your competencies or here are your skills. Here is also the opportunities, and by opportunities it could be the needs of the organization, but let's also be very, very frank. I want paycheck and benefits.
Yeah, of course. We all.
I think there's a space of things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Is a way to architect anybody's job to where there is some of that, but I got to know what that is. What are some of the things that keep you interested and keep you aligned to where the organization is going and growing? Yes, I'm still going to need your skills in this area, and I'm still going to have to make sure that it aligns to the interest of the organization, but sometimes it's your interest too. But more importantly, it's that idea of I, as your leader, should still be looking at, is there anything in your job that's energy giving? Because if it's not, you're 1,000% right. I'm probably hating my job. I'm hating coming to work.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in that says giving me any energy. Versus even just 10% of your job giving you energy gives you the sustainment to keep kind of pressing through some of the But if it's all why don't I want to be? And why am I going to give you anything extra?
Yeah.
Because it's nothing. But if you as a leader don't even understand that, sometimes you'll miss it.
Yeah, we were when you cut off, we were talking about interest, and you were saying the weight of interest. You said that even if it's 10% interest, how to take that and use that energy in your performance process. Yeah.
So And it goes back to that, making sure that you just, one, have the conversations with folks. Like if you don't know what they're interested in or even what they're passionate about or where they are in life, you have to that to me into any type of performance management. We think, or we thought, I want to say it like that. We thought that, hey, you separate life and work. We learned very different from COVID. So let's take that lesson forward and realize that you are dealing with a whole person. And that sometimes it's as simple as this. I'm at a point in my career, honestly, where I just want to be able to focus on me. So if you want me to learn something else, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
And more importantly, great. But make sure I can leave at 5 o'clock every day so I can go be with my family or myself.
Got it.
Yeah.
Or make sure that I have capacity, like I want to go do yoga every day, every Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
And that's what I am right now.
Yeah, that's where we were going with this capacity versus capability. And breaking down, can you break down the difference between workload volume and then skill growth? And what happens when organizations conflate the two?
You're going to end up with basically a lot of employees that are unhappy.
Yeah.
Living proof.
Oh God, I needed everybody to see that. Yeah.
I need to be seen, guys. See me. No, it truly is. My job became AI, nothing fun, everything fast. Like it just became this terrible environment.
It
was like, do it quickly and poorly and be happy about it.
Yeah. And it's like you're messing and this is the other piece of that intersection. Let's go back to there's a piece you're passionate about. There's a piece that, and so when you see, like, even for me, sometimes people are like, well, why did you leave that? That was a really great organization. Sometimes it was because the intersection of what I love and what you were asking me to do was so egregious to who I am as this professional. Again, going back to you want me to create a one-day onboarding experience that only lasts for 2 hours. No, that makes sense to me. And it just curved me to where I'm like, this intersection of I'm willing to do a lot, do a lot of things, but now you're messing with my passion and you're messing with like my joy. And in addition to that, you're asking me to put out garbage with my name on it. I can't.
Nope. That's literally what happens, though. That's what happened to me, and she's clearly been through it too. This is not a unique experience, right?
No. And again, but again, I'll say this: it typically is tied to a leader who really doesn't understand the space.
Yeah.
And every time I've experienced it, it has not been necessarily it has not actually, if I take a step back and really think about it, it hasn't been the organization. It's been one particular leader who really thought, well, no, everybody else is doing this, so you can do this. And it's like, no.
And that goes down to really understanding your people, which is part of what you're talking about in this presentation too, right? Understanding your people at a deep level and not just,
you got to understand. I won't even say you understand them. It's a matter of sometimes even having some of the most difficult real conversations with an individual.
Yes.
Taking into account the past, the present, and the future. Like, how do you do that? Most powerful conversations that I've had as a leader is just sitting down and saying, I'm looking at your past performance. I'm looking at where you are right now, and I'm wondering what's going on.
Yes.
Because every indicator tells me you want to go to be a leader or a supervisor. And right now I'm not seeing that, but I'm seeing a past that says that should be where we are today. So help me to understand.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're not there to fix anybody. The system is there to help you to support them.
I think sometimes, like, also there is not a place for you right now, but we're going to take that into hand, and we're going to see you and where you're at and what the position looks like. I think sometimes it's just like taking that data and saying, okay, this is where we're at with that data. And we might both be mad about it.
Oh no, we both may be upset about it, but it may be valid when we actually take a look at the data and also when we look at the overall. Again,
Yeah.
if you look at it as a system of what were the expectations that you set in the beginning of the performance cycle, what were the check-ins like? One, again, we all know better. Everybody knows it should never be a surprise, and it still continues to be a surprise. So that means we haven't designed a good system. So then in terms of those check-ins, what tools that did I have access to as the individual contributor, and what did I have access to as the manager? Did we align that messaging so that if the manager's not doing it, you still as the employee could do it and support yourself relative to, hey, I'm seeing what I need and I'm going to go after what I need and I'm going to raise my hand and I have the vehicles in which to do that. And again, that's that, like, you're not doing it a one-time year event, but you're making sure that, hey, in orientation, we set the expectation with you as a leader and as a manager. Manager, you should be doing it here. The check-in should also facilitate that. It should align to other experiences that are going on in the organization. So we keep coming back to this topic. And then in addition to that, we add a component of data. So even most recently for us, we did our performance evaluation. And the biggest piece is that the expectation of leaders is that you're doing it. However, the feedback from our employees is, this is great. I want more of this, but my manager's not doing it.
Yeah.
Now, that's the feedback that I take back to my leadership that says, hey, I don't think we need to do as many check-ins. No, as a matter of fact, this is what your employees are saying. Oh, I guess we need to do more check-ins. Yes.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's a great example of showing that true accountability.
Yeah. And it's a system that helps you to do it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, looking at the talent landscape today, AI gives us incredible analytical leverage. But as we discussed earlier, it also creates some real risks like synthetic candidates, AI resumes, and fake profiles. So what hard lessons have you seen when organizations rely too heavily on AI screening?
I'm so excited to hear this.
Oh, yeah. So, well, go look at the latest news with like Workday, a couple of other players in this space. Just search AI and the resume review, and then you'll start to realize that there's some major issues right now going on in this space. Also, too, here's my frustration. You'll get managers who are like, well, if I just put it in the AI, it'll screen, it'll do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, but AI can't read AI, y'all. So the same ability for you to use it to screen is the same thing that person is using to create the resume, to answer your questions and to do everything else. Yeah. And if you don't have that ability, here's where that human judgment and kind of knowing the discernment, but also having the experience to know this doesn't make any sense. Like, this person is saying they're an engineer and they're doing X. However, when I really look at their degree, their background, who they worked for, and a couple of other variables, what I'm noticing is that they're an engineer in this space. They're not an engineer in the space that I'm looking for. And by that, I mean the technical expertise. It's not aligning. So while everything
is huge reform.
Good, oh yeah. The reality is that many times it's not there. I mean, The craziest, we were talking, Sarah, earlier in preparation for this, and I said the craziest new thing that I saw that kind of blew me away recently, I even had to do a post on it on LinkedIn, was someone created an entire fake company on LinkedIn.
Wild.
That to me was the wild. It was like, but they linked it to the job site.
Uh-oh.
Okay, tell us the end of that story. Sorry, we got cut off.
So really, I mean, honestly, basically an entire fake company. And I honestly do not think that it is the purpose of being able to, say that they are that company. I think the whole purpose is to actually add people to it so that basically you have essentially fake candidates. So more and more, even we're seeing people slip through that technically are not real candidates. And that is creating a whole crazy system right now.
I've also seen things to be aware of adding people on LinkedIn that you don't know because they can scrape your stuff too.
Yeah.
Like there's all sorts of things to be aware of with LinkedIn.
Well, the
I
key is,
really,
oh, I was gonna say, sorry, Sarah. I was just gonna say, I'm learning more and more. The key is just as much as we're using it, they are too.
yeah, I really hope to see some reform of all of this shortly because this seems like a terrible job market to be in this
Mhm.
current climate. Ugh,
Yeah,
scary.
it's an interesting job market right now. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I mean, Tonya, this has been an incredible conversation today. Thank you so much for grounding us in the practical realities of system design and talent management. Before we let you go, can you tell our listeners where to find you and learn more about your session?
Sure. I am on LinkedIn, Tonya Troy Tucker. Tonya Troy Tucker, or I should just say Tonya Tucker. However, I do on IG at Troy Tucker. And then
Okay.
in addition to that, as I mentioned, I think earlier, I'll be at ATD Houston on September 17th. More of the topic there is going to be on that, basically the data side of things. But for
Mhm.
web specifically, I will be there through the September 29th to October 1st, and I'll be presenting Beyond Performance Reviews, designing a data-driven talent experience.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right.
And to our listeners, please make sure to check out her session at OrgDev. Until next time, keep humanizing your learning and talent workflows.
As a thank you for watching this episode, we have a coupon code for you for attending OrgDev. We would love to see you there. Please check our comments for more details.